Okay, so my sketch is ready and now let's paint it. So I'm wetting my paper with clean water. I'm actually wetting the sky area, and here you can see the sheen. Okay, now I'll take some ultramarine blue and start painting my sky. I'm giving diagonal strokes here. And what I'm trying to do is leaving some spaces for the clouds. Yeah, the paper is still wet. Remember, it should not be dry, okay? And okay, now if I don't like somewhere the blue color, so ultramarine blue has a very good property. You can lift off this paint from the paper and can easily do that, and it will not leave any stains on the paper. It's not a staining color, so I'm doing that with my brush. And for that you need to do with the damp brush. You just have to lift off some color, damp it on, then you have to wipe it on your tissue, and then again go back to the paper. I'm doing this again and again. Indication of my clouds. Okay, so my sky is done. Now we'll start working on our ground. So I'm putting here the wash of Naples yellow. This is the only yellow I got in my limited palette. So you can use any yellow like cadmium yellow, lemon yellow, or any bright yellow. So I'm putting a wash here. Some areas may be darker, some lighter. Now I'm putting the strokes here using my sap green and showing indication of the grasses. Again, somewhere darker, somewhere lighter. So my ground is still wet, so I'm dropping in some sap green, and you can see how the sap green is merging into the ground. Now I'm working on my tree. Again, I'm using the Naples yellow and with lighter skull. I'm actually dabbing my brush, little dabs. With the tip of my brush, where I'm just slowly forming a tree. Now I'm putting a bit darker here using the sap green, showing the depth into the tree. Here is I'm using any kind of browns you can use for the bark, and I'm again showing the depth. Somewhere the tree is still wet, somewhere it's dried. So my light is coming from the right side, so that's why I'm making darker regions at the left side. And here I'm putting my shadow, and you can see that if the light comes from the right side, the shadow must fall on the left side. So shadows are darker, so I've used darker greens. I've used sap green, and I mixed it with some of my ultramarine blue to make it a little darker. Now I'm starting my background bushes again with a mix of ultramarine blue and sap green. With random strokes. You don't have to be too specific because they are little behind and they should not be that much detailed. Okay, I'm dropping in a bit darker color. Again, same mix. You can add bit of your browns or little red to it to make it a bit more darker also. I'm dropping in the darker shades at the bottom, right? And then I'm gonna spread upwards because the region is still wet. Indication of trees maybe at the background. Simply, you can see simply dropping the darker color and it's spreading on its own, you know, the wet background is actually helping me. Darkening my left side of the tree bark, and I'm darkening my shadow also. I'm using the same mix, ultramarine blue or the darkest green. In my palette it's sap green. So now again working on the ground, I'm indicating more of the grasses over here by dropping in some strokes of sap green. And then I'll be with the dry brush technique, let the ground a little dry, and then I'm going to drop in some grasses. The upward strokes of the brush, see, and there's an upward stroke. You can show or you can paint the grass like that. Not everywhere, it's in some spaces. Near the tree maybe. The spikes of the brush is quite helpful here. Now you need to the brush should be dry. Okay, so we are almost done. So I'll be making my ground a bit brighter and I'm dropping it same like my background bushes and putting it a little darker because after it dries I feel that it's a little lighter. So I'm making it more darker to show in the depth in my painting. And I've used a wash of Naples yellow. I think here I'm using May green, and you can see my ground just brighten up. Okay, so our painting is basically almost done. Little here and there. So let's peel off the masking tape. Always peel it off with an angle. Because you don't want to spoil your painting. So that's my simple landscape. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please drop in some comments in the comment section and I'll be answer that. Thank you everyone. Bye bye. See you in the next painting.